And now let's talk about Andrew Gwynne. Until early yesterday, I believe he was the health minister. Quite a firebrand he is for Labour as well. He's come up from the Dreaming Spires, you know, up there in the north. And he really does feel that he's the big guy in the bunch up there. He's been leading this WhatsApp group now for several years, in which they pour a bucket all over their traditional white working class supporters, a big dose of traditional Labour anti-Semitism, racism against Andrew, against Diane Abbott, you know, you name it, it's not, he's done it. Anyway, quite right, he's been found out by the Mail on Sunday and he's gone. It turns out that one of his young devotees was the 29-year-old wonder kid, Oliver Ryan, MP for Burnley, going places, a real firebrand of Labour of tomorrow, except he was in this WhatsApp group making similar nasty messages. If you're watching, Ollie, you are only 29, but you are finished. Good, because you deserve to be. So, we know this is what they do. This is indicative, Russell, of the Labour Party, the modern Labour Party. The Labour Party was formed to help the working classes, to help the poverty-stricken, the underprivileged, get a decent crack in an unfair country, in a class-ridden country. Good, good, good. What is it now? It's just a bunch of privately educated North London Oxbridge types, you know, debating Marxism. And they actually hate the white working class. They hate all of that stuff about improving the lot of the lower orders. They're not interested in that. So they've morphed into this party that doesn't care about its supporters. And that was what was revealed, right, in Andrew Gwynne's disgusting WhatsApp messages about wishing that an old lady of 72 would die before the next election, of anti-Semitic comments about a guy with a Jewish name, is Ian Mossad or something like that, and also racism about Diane Abbott, and sexism about Angela Rayner performing some kind of sex act and so on. And so none of this is all rubbish. It's all the sort of febrile mind of these juvenile idiots. So both Andrew Gwynne and Oliver Ryan have been kicked out of the Parliamentary Labour Party today. They've had the whip taken away from them. As of now, they're independent MPs, and they're being investigated with a view to dismissal from the party altogether. So, to be fair to Starmer, he's done that correctly. You know, he's moved fast and they fully deserve it. But why is it that so many Labour politicians think like this? It started with that view that if you voted Brexit, you're a gammon, you're a moron. Then we saw it with Gordon Brown in that election he lost because a perfectly reasonable pensioner was complaining about migration, and he was overheard going, that bigoted woman, she wasn't a bigoted woman. Don't forget Emily Thornberry, when she went to Thanet once, took a contemptuous picture
and tweeted it
of a house covered in St George's flag, the view from Thanet. This is their problem. They don't like their own supporters.
Well, it's the epitome of champagne socialism, is what it is. And of course, you know, because champagne socialism, I would argue, actually, it's been alive and unwell since the likes of Derek Hatton. Do you remember Derek Hatton in Liverpool? You know, the man that drove around. What?
I made him.
Go on.
I put him on the front page of the Sun every day.
Well, and do you remember his Mercedes or his BMW, I think you had, with the registration number Degsy?
Yeah, who revealed that story?
You probably.
Yeah.
There you go.
World exclusive.
So,
Champagne socialist Degsy. Yeah.
There you go. So this is my point.
Who gave me that story?
So when was that?
Who gave me that story?
I don't know.
Derek Hatton.
Did he?
Yeah,
okay.
You like to be on the front page, these old Degs.
Well, I think he was ground zero, really, because, you know, he was the well-heeled, sharp-suited...
But he wasn't. But to be fair to Derek, he was working class. He actually did have some interest in the working classes. He's not one of these Guardian-reading North London lawyers.
But what we all should remember...
Piece of work, but
we should remember the Labour Party as being the party of the likes of, you know, Callaghan, Wilson, Dennis Healey and so on. Say what you like about those guys. They were for the working class. They might have been financially and economically illiterate, but they were for the working class. What's now happened since is these Oxford, Cambridge educated grammar school kids, effectively, that come from wealthy families that almost are in this kind of politically rebellious mood, you know, where mummy ignored them, daddy was always out earning loads and loads of money. So they've ended up almost as this resentful, wealthy class that therefore happens to be left wing. And that's now translated into the very same people that get selected as MPs and therefore as ministers and so on. Of course, they're snobs. They are the political bourgeoisie.
They hate their own supporters. Now, this was in happier days for Andrew Gwynne. It's when he went on to Sky News and decided to sort of display his credentials, his kind of fiery credentials in a big bust-up with Boris Johnson. Funny enough, it was about the winter fuel allowance, which Andrew was convinced that evil Tory Boris would axe. Oh, he didn't axe it though, did he? It was evil Keir Starmer who axed it, evil Rachel Reeves. But anyway, watch this.
We want managed immigration. We are leaving the European.
I'm not hearing an answer.
We are leaving the European Union.
Are you leaving the customs union?
We are leaving the European Union.
I asked him this last time.
Boris,
you remember? I asked him this last time.
Boris, I'm sorry to say,
I'm so sorry. Go on.
Don't be a pillar.
Come on. You're leaving the customs union.
No, Boris.
You're not leaving the customs union.
Boris, can you please tell people?
Are you leaving the customs union?
Can you please tell the pensioners what is happening to their winter fuel allowance? How many of them are going to lose it?
I haven't heard. Well, that obviously is
10 million.
But that is
10 million.
That is
okay,
to be.
Mr. Johnson,
that is obviously.
Well, there's a lot of water under the bridge since then on both their parts, but that thing about the winter fuel allowance, I mean, Andrew Gwynne is the epitome of Westminster stupidity, isn't he?
Well, and hypocrisy. I think Andrew Gwynne voted as a parliamentary Labour Party member to get rid of the winter fuel allowance.
Honestly,
only very recently, Andrew Gwynne, didn't you?
Piece of crap.
Honestly.
Piece of crap.
It's sinister hypocrisy is what it is. And also, I have to say, it's another example of the uni party, which is countless politicians over the years and decades saying whatever they need to say to curry favour and power to get elected and then to stick their two fingers up at us once elected. Boris, Gwynne, Starmer, I mean, all of them, the uni party, they're all the same.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right. So where's the Labour Party gone wrong? Why does it hate its own supporters? Why would an MP, this was a lady in his constituency up north saying, you know, now you're the MP, I thought I'd write to you about bins, you know, the bin collection. A lot of people, particularly old people, really worry about bin collection. I worry about bin collection. Not enough, but I do worry about it. It's just a perfectly nice letter, and he writes to his mates, you know, hope she effing dies before the next election. I mean, what a nasty thing to say. What is wrong with this guy? I mean, this is typical of that party. They hate their own supporters. They want to be in North London dinner parties discussing Marxism, don't they?
Yeah, they're the political elite, and they have absolute contempt for their, not just voters, but for their own voters, those that normally vote for them. And can we also just recap? I mean, I think...
Mind you, Gwynne's not from the elite. He went to some Salford University.
Well, yeah, but he wants to be, doesn't he? He wants to be.
Wants to be, yeah.
But Gwynne and Ryan...
He did go to Oxford. It was the best day trip he's ever had.
Yeah, went to Oxford Brookes, probably. But Gwynne and Ryan...
Not even that. Couldn't get
They
anywhere.
are, I think, the 6th/7th members of the Labour Party since the election to have the whip removed, in addition to the 6 or 7 that had the whip removed because they voted against Keir Starmer in one of the first votes of, in fact, the first vote, I think, of this this Parliament. You know, the likes of Tulip Sadiq, Louise Haigh, Mike Amesbury, he's the one that decided to punch the lights out of one of his own constituents, if you remember.
He's gone already, I think.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, but they are only 7 months into government, and already we've had...
Tell you what, if I meet that bloke Mike Amesbury personally, I'm not going to debate it with him. You know, I've knocked that guy out. He's got a good punch on him.
Carried on when the bloke was on the floor.
It wasn't the best career move, but he he floored that guy like a deck of cards.
But I know we're not glossing over it because we have talked about it incessantly on Talk. But this is, I think, now 7 members of the Labour Party that have had the whip removed because of some kind of indiscretion, some kind of, you know, whether it be a history of fraud or suspected corruption or violence or now wishing pensioners dead. We're 7 months into this government.
It's a good point, Russell. This is what should be discussed. Let me know what you think. So, to some extent, I've got some sympathy with Starmer. In fairness, he moved fast on both these issues. Andrew Gwynne and Oliver Ryan. They're gone. And will be kicked out of the party. So he did move with some speed, and now they're all boasting about it. All his acolytes are all on the media all day. Oh, Mr. Keir moved with remarkable speed. He won't put up with this. Well, what about his judgment
In the first place.
What about his judgment in the first place? Didn't he know Andrew Gwynne was a piece of crap? Why didn't he know that?
Well, he knew, apparently, that Tulip Sadiq...
He clearly was.
He knew that Tulip Sadiq was embroiled in some... alleged impropriety with regard to her Bangladeshi connections. He knew, apparently, that Louise Haigh had been convicted of fraud, but still made her not just a minister, but a cabinet secretary.
A secretary, yeah.
His lack of judgment. But again, is it just arrogance? Does he know these things? It's not just lack of judgment. It's just, well, to hell with the public. I don't care what they think. I'll do what I want. I'll do what I want.
Yeah, I think you're cutting him too much slack. I think he's a bit stupid and makes terrible mistakes.
Could be that.
There's no planning in here. He's just cocking it up, staggering from one crisis to the next, one self-made crisis to the next. We're going to break now.